The scrutiny and pressure facing a Manchester United manager at the best of times can be overwhelming, but what happens during losses is borderline feverish. The latter is exactly what Erik Ten Hag is experiencing right now. After a 3-0 defeat, Tottenham provided a new nadir for his reign. For many, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and like clockwork, the rumours of a potential Erik Ten Hag sack started swirling around. From deadlines given by Sir Jim Ratcliffe to the opinion of senior players in the dressing room, the speculation is unending, and with a daunting fixture list ahead, it won't quieten anytime soon. In the meantime, the manager himself has broken the silence to address these reports with an emphatic statement. Ten Hag has never been a master manipulator of the media as the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson or Jose Mourinho were. However, he sometimes still drops direct and emphatic statements, mainly in his own defense, when cornered by the press. An example of this was seen in the aftermath of the FA Cup win last season, which Ten Hag treated as vindication and wasn't afraid to fight back. Now, inarguably his lowest moment at Old Trafford, Ten Hag has ensured that the fight hasn't gone from him as he addressed the sack rumours in emphatic fashion. Speaking to Sky Sports in an interview to address his future, he said that the club has been in transition since he arrived, needing a tactical and cultural reset, but he's aware of the expectations. He said, "In the meantime of reset, we have to win, and we have proven in the last 2 years that we win. I have proven in my career always that I will win. In the last 6 years of my career, I have 8 trophies. We have to back the game model and back the strong team we have now. We have to work on our problems, give the solutions, and we have good potential of players, so once it is embedded, we will drive forward, and I'm sure we'll achieve the targets for this season." That is undoubtedly brave and fighting talk for a man widely believed to have just 2 games remaining to save his job. His point of winning trophies and the 2 he won at Old Trafford is unlikely to go down well with supporters anymore because the league form has been terrible. Having said that, his point about the club needing a reset and being in transition all 3 years he's been there is pretty valid. It is why Ineos gave him another chance this season. Curious to see how the manager performs in the new structure put in place by them. Still, the first step towards solving a problem is to acknowledge there is one, and Ten Hag's comments don't seem to hint at it. He talks about the specific problems versus Tottenham, but the reality remains that United have been mired in these issues for a while now. They are not game-specific, and Ten Hag still going on about the 2 trophies in the last 2 years won't satiate the supporters who approach every match day with borderline trepidation now. The process is all fine and good, but a few more of these results will make all this talk for void. This feels straight out of the 2023-24 season, where every week seemed like a wait for a weekend defeat, but it's poetic because the performance versus Tottenham was straight out of 2023-24 as well. The empty midfield, the chaotic pressing, the easy turnovers, the frustration of trailing, and an antsy Old Trafford crowd, it was the perfect cocktail of a disaster. That is the kind of performance that gets the manager sacked, and it had shades of Manchester United's defeat at Watford, which drew the curtains on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time at the club. Ten Hag has repeatedly spoken about the 2 trophies he's won, which is in direct contrast to Solskjaer's preachings, and the mitigating factor of last season injuries is no longer applicable. Moreover, his point of young players needing time to gel falls flat when teams like Brighton and Tottenham, with their managers being even newer to the job than him, do one over the club. Having considered all that, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's immediate stance in the wake of the 0-3 result has emerged. It was only a few weeks ago that United's new executive structure gave a statement of confidence backing the manager for a long-term project. That came in the wake of a tumultuous summer when Ineos openly talked to prospective candidates but arrived at the conclusion that Ten Hag was their man. It has led to Ineos being backed into a corner, as the face they would lose after going back on that decision after just 6 league games would point to a team unsure of themselves. That hasn't stopped fans from demanding a change, and something clearly turned after the Tottenham defeat. Amidst all that, The Athletic reports that there is still no immediate appetite to relieve Ten Hag of his duties, but that comes with an asterisk. The report states that with away games to come at Porto and Aston Villa, a similar display in those 2 will crank up the pressure on the manager severely. It is worth noting that Porto are yet to lose at home this season, while Aston Villa's only home loss has come versus Arsenal, and it's not a ground United have enjoyed themselves at much in recent years. As noted above, Ineos have backed themselves into an unforgiving corner with their summer exploits and then eventually extending Ten Hag's contract. They are stuck in a battle of optics versus action, as they might be delaying the inevitable sacking Ten Hag because of how bad it would look just a few months after effectively admitting nobody on the market matches up to him. That is complicated further since the coaching market hasn't changed since then, even shrinking, as Mauricio Pochettino has committed to the USA national team. Of course, they have Ruud van Nistelrooy in the ranks, but the longer this run of results goes on, the higher the chances of his own reputation getting corrupted due to being a part of this coaching team. When Solskjaer arrived, he benefited from being an outside force free of all the burden and toxicity of the previous Mourinho regime. That won't be the case for Nistelrooy, so that's not a straightforward appointment. The clock is ticking and the next 2 games are crucial, but then again, perhaps this decision should have already been made in the summer. Erik ten Hag's tenure is under significant pressure following the 0-3 loss to Tottenham. The recurring theme in the criticism is the lack of consistent progress, despite Ten Hag's rhetoric about winning trophies and resetting the club's culture. While his defense of a transitional phase holds some truth, especially after years of instability, it rings hollow when results don't match expectations. The focus on past success does little to calm fans who are increasingly impatient. There's also the issue of Ineos' public backing of Ten Hag, which complicates any decision to sack him. However, postponing decisive action could harm the club further if the poor results continue. The squad is talented, but there's a disconnect in terms of execution. Ten Hag's point about young players needing time to gel might have some merit, but the stark contrast with teams like Brighton and Tottenham, who have newer managers, makes this argument weak. It's not just about gelling, it's about the collective effort, mentality, and readiness to compete at the highest level. Senior players are also reportedly disillusioned, further suggesting that the dressing room dynamics could be in disarray. The loss to Tottenham highlighted tactical failures, which aren't new. The midfield remains a weak point, with an empty structure allowing easy turnovers and chaotic pressing, leading to frustrated performances. The persistence of these tactical flaws, especially against top teams, indicates a failure to adapt or fix these recurring issues. Fans have grown weary of the same mistakes happening week after week. If Ten Hag cannot adjust quickly, the inevitable comparisons to past failures, like Solskjaer's reign, will only intensify. The team's form in the Premier League is poor, and that loss to Tottenham felt like a breaking point. The echoes of previous disastrous seasons, where United limped through matches and the pressure mounted with each failure, are now being heard again. Every game feels like an examination, and the fans' growing frustration is palpable. With upcoming matches against Porto and Aston Villa, the immediate future for Ten Hag looks bleak if results don't improve. Ineos and the club's leadership are in a difficult position. They can either stick with the long-term project or cut ties early. The coaching market offers few attractive alternatives, which makes sacking Ten Hag a more complex decision. However, delaying action could lead to further damage, and the club risks repeating past mistakes by waiting too long. In summary, the club's management is walking a tightrope. The players appear disjointed, the tactics are outdated and ineffective, and without immediate improvement, the future for both Erik ten Hag and Manchester United looks highly uncertain. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below.